Hi, I'm Christine McKinney, and I lead the legal talent function at Fish & Richardson. I'm really excited to share with you today some best practices for communicating with employers during the application process. First, I want to talk about your application documents. The first piece of advice I have for you is to always make sure you're using the resources available to you. Talk to people in your career services office, your mentors, alumni, faculty at your law school. Make sure that you get their advice on the right format and the right language to use in your cover letter and resume. Next, probably the most important thing I'll say in this entire video is to proofread your materials. Make sure there is not one typo in there, no errors. Ask somebody to look it over before you submit it to ensure that it is error-free. Put yourself forward as a colleague and as a business professional, not a student. And this means being aware of informal language. For example, your cover letter should not say that you love to do something or that you're passionate about it or use exclamation points. It should be more straightforward with a business tone. Finally, explain what you have to offer to a potential employer in your cover letter. Don't make it about what you hope to gain from working with them, but rather make it about what you can offer when you get the job. Next, let's talk about how you manage your public persona. While you are entitled to a personal life, employers are also entitled to judge your professionalism by what you make public, and they just might do that. So make sure you've scrubbed your social media accounts, your Twitter, your Instagram, your Facebook, your blogs, anything along those lines, to put forth something that is professional. Next, think about what voicemail recording you have on your phone. Think about that from a view of being professional as well. For your email address, if you're not using a school email, use something that projects professionalism, your name or something simple along those lines. Also, you may want to consider adding a signature block in your email that has easy contact information, including your telephone number. When submitting your application materials, keep in mind that you should give an employer exactly what they've asked for. There's no need to give them more, and definitely don't give them less than what their application system requires. If you're sending a copy of your materials directly to an attorney, make sure to CC a member of the recruiting staff so they know that the materials were received. You can follow up in 10 to 14 days if you haven't heard anything, and you can utilize a message that demonstrates interest and offers to provide additional content. Don't just ask for confirmation of receipt, but offer to do something proactively at that point. Finally, keep in mind employers may be receiving dozens, if not hundreds of resumes in a short amount of time, so be patient with them. It's okay to check in every couple weeks, but understand you may not hear something immediately. It's important to prepare for any interview. If you've been asked to conduct the interview via Skype, make sure you try out the technology beforehand. If you're doing it via phone, use a landline if at all possible. Cell phone service can be spotty, and it makes a difference when you're speaking to a potential employer. If you'll be going in person, get the details in advance about travel or payment protocols. And if you haven't received a list of the people with whom you'll meet, it's perfectly appropriate to request one. Finally, it's always a good idea to prepare with a mock interview. Be ready for all different types of questions. After the interview, follow up with a note of thanks and make sure to include all of the administrative staff who coordinated your schedule. But always make sure not to have any typos in those thank you notes. Inquire about decision timing if you didn't have a chance to do so in your interview, and be patient. Touch base every couple of weeks if you haven't heard about a decision from the employer. If you hear from an employer that you did not receive an offer, communicate in a way calculated to maintain that professional connection. It's a small legal world, and you never know when you'll interact with that employer again down the road. If the employer invites you to stay in touch, do so periodically. If you did receive an offer, congratulations. Make sure to acknowledge the offer quickly by the same channel through which you received it. So if a law firm reached out to you via phone, acknowledge the offer by calling them back. Clarify any details, maybe a split summer, if there's a response deadline, who you should contact with additional questions. Ask them at that time. Also, it's really important to evaluate multiple offers quickly and on a continuous basis. If you have a more attractive offer, go ahead and decline the one that you're no longer interested in. Do not hold an offer until its expiration date unless it is truly in the running for you. Thank you for listening to these tips from NALP on best practices of communicating during the application process.